Dare to Endure. Parallel World, Book 2. Written and narrated by Kersey. Copyright 2013 by Kersey. Chapter 1. I felt bruises forming on my upper arms as the enforcers squeezed my flesh and dragged me into the building. Maybe they were irritated that I had tried to escape and had nearly gotten away. Hansen, the one I'd kneed in the groin, squeezed particularly hard. Complaining wouldn't do any good. Plus, I didn't want them to get the satisfaction of knowing I was in pain, so I kept quiet. But that wasn't the only reason. My lip was swollen from when I'd been body slammed to the ground, and I knew my words would be unintelligible, which would make me the object of ridicule. My face ached where it had skidded across the ground. Even though I'd been on grass at the time, it had felt like crashing into concrete when Dimples had taken me down. I didn't know his real name and hoped I wouldn't be around long enough to find out. My plan had been, and still was, to get back to the tunnel that had brought me to this awful world. Picturing the hut where I'd spent the night when I'd run away, I desperately wished that when I turned around to go home I'd kept going despite the darkness. Even though I'd been lost in the woods by then, it would have been far better for me to wander around in the snowstorm looking for my house than to end up in this insane world where it was illegal to be overweight. I still couldn't believe that I was a prisoner at a federally assisted thinning center, also known as a F.A.T center. The name made it sound like they were just interested in helping me, but I'd never asked for their help, and I didn't want it. No, I'd been tasered into submission before being hauled out of my house. My crime? Being a few pounds overweight. Oh yeah, and I'd distributed cookies to my friends at school. You'd think the cookies were laced with drugs for how seriously this crime was being taken. And it was mostly thanks to Lori, my recent nemesis. It's true that I'd never been great at making friends, but in less than 2 weeks I'd met Lori and she had become my enemy, all over a boy I was certain I would never see again. But it was more than that. I had defied her and her attempts to bully me into submission. That's what she really hated. Holding back a sigh, I plodded down the hallway with an enforcer on either side of me. I felt sorry for myself, but more than that, I was scared. I didn't know what was going to happen next, and I didn't know how I was going to get out of there in time to make my way back to the tunnel that I fervently hoped would take me home, to my real home, the one where people could eat what they wanted, and if they were overweight, they could choose to stay that way or choose to lose weight. No one was dragged out of their home.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?